Guys, Mark Ferrasci, Pro Deck Dog Training, and Buddha. We're just waking up, scooping kennels and doing our thing, getting dogs settled, spraying down and cleaning up. Figured I'd yak at the screen as I walk around property here. Come on, Bodie, let's go. So I've been thinking a lot about my takeaway with my adventure with Creed and getting him back to the officer back in Missouri. And the officer, when he first started dealing with me, and right away I got a phone call and was talking to him on the phone, and right away jumped through the hoops to get him a dog from France, and without any hesitation, without really knowing the man, just hearing the stories and wanting to do the right thing. And then of course, you know, with my wild imagination and creativity and everything else, I was trying to make sure that I got something out of it, and that was to mainly make some friends in the law enforcement and start to build some relationships and move towards that direction. There's not any money in law enforcement training. They've got their price point down so low, and they've got a whole different system of how they're procuring dogs over in Europe, and there's a whole world there. But what I care about more than anything is being able to get together with these guys and learn and grow tactics and really understand, so that I can better produce the product as far as what they need on the street. And it's not there's money involved, but there's a whole different science involved with it. But what I came away with, you know, and kind of just looking at the overall thing, was the cultural aspects of things. The culture in law enforcement is they've been doing it for a while, and they think they know everything, and a lot of times they don't, and they haven't incorporated the new marker training and that sort of thing as much. It is starting to crop in, slow but sure. But for a long time, they were a lot like us in the sport dog world. And I shouldn't say us, but this is my community, dog training in general and overall, the industry. But the aspect of having a culture of yank and crank and the old school of ways of doing things versus the new with clickers and marker training and all that. And I think they're the last holdouts, to be honest with you. They still have a lot of attitude of wanting to do it the way they've been doing it for years and not wanting to change and being very egotistical and thinking they're all that and then some. And for the most part, they've got a long way to go, and they could be a lot better served by understanding the science of training instead of trying to just yank and crank it through and bang it out. The dogs would be a lot better. If you ever go to a police canine trial, you'll notice the dogs aren't as proficient as a sport, and there's a reason for that. And it's a tool, and they're used for apprehension, they're used for finding the drugs and doing what they do. But and then the officers are busy. They're busier than heck trying to fill out reports and deal with the world they're dealing with. There's a lot less time for them to really be able to work their animals, and that shouldn't be a justified excuse by any means, but you have to put yourself in their shoes in that regards. But so again, my takeaway really was that I'm waiting for this new world of training with all the marker training and clickers and things like that to start to take hold, where they're thinking things through a lot more with scientific aspects instead of reactionary type of reaction. I mean, it's not unknown for things to happen, like let's say officers, they all team up together and they've got a lot of peer pressure and interaction with their other departments and things like that, because they team up and use their resources and get together a lot of times. And if an officer goes out there, as a hypothetical here, and goes out and does something, let's say, and gets embarrassed because his dog didn't perform or something happened, and then he takes it out on the dog, it's a very human reaction. But with all that ego, with all that culture and everything in law enforcement, the dog's the one that suffers a lot of times, you know. And you see things like that one film where the guy was hoisting the dog over his back and correcting the hell out of the dog, and they hadn't really even got a good scenario to make sure it was a learning scenario for the dog. Dog officer just went to start kicking his butt. That's a good example of it, you know, that the old school cultural ego and thinking they know everything and not wanting to let in the new world. And we did the same thing in Schutzen way back. I remember back in the 80s when Click Street just started, and everybody was negative on it in the working dogs world, and they were not doing what they needed to do to learn and grow in that respect. And then boom, it changed, and now you see all the guys are using it. You know, they're using marker training to a big extent, and the sports have started to incorporate a lot more of working towards not having conflict. And example of this is ring sport, to teach an out. A lot of times they'll do a recall to the person behind them, and the excitement comes from the handler with another tug. They say out, boom, the game goes again with the handler, and the dog learns that if he lets go, he gets back in, and that's a lot funner to be playing the game with the handler. And then you have no conflict. The dog learns to have a really clean out. You whistle that whistle, boom, that's an out command, and boom, the dog outs right away and comes back flying to the handler. And that's the sort of thing we're talking about. Instead of the old school punishment and putting a stem collar on the dog and zapping the hell out of him when he doesn't let go of the sleeve, you know. That mental difference is dramatic, you know, using markers and doing things in the right way. So I'm waiting for it to kind of take hold in law enforcement circles. When I delivered that dog back there, I kind of right away sensed that they were going to go out and get this dog certified to put him on the street, and they're working with the old school, with a department that has a long history of having a canine unit, doing things the old way and not letting in the new knowledge. And it's just going to take the young kids, you know, the younger generation coming in and starting to learn and grow with what they're doing to a point where they start to incorporate the new world and do a lot better job and serve the animal a lot better and produce a lot better product if they do that. So that's just a little bit of my yak session as I walk around property this morning with Joker. Let him have his potty break, and it's starting to warm up here finally. This next week's supposed to be in the 80s. The cold is starting to slip away, and we'll probably have one more slip towards cold, but Mother Nature hasn't wanted to let go this year. She's wanting to hang on. So it's been a cold time up here. I'm glad it's finally going to warm up. I'm in a good mood. When it starts to get warm, I can start training some dogs and having a good time. So I'll talk to you guys later. Mark Ferrasci, ProTech Dog Training, yakking the screen once again. Got a bunch of guys coming over today to work some dogs. It's Sunday, and that's usually what we do. Either I'm going somewhere else or they're coming to me. So today we're going to let my friends come up here and see what we got. I thank you much. You have a good day. Joker, come on, let's go. Good boy, come on, let's go. Joker, with me. Good boy. Either with me. Good boy. Either with me. Nope, get away from there. Come on, with me. That means right to me. Yes, there you go. Good boy. Oh, yeah. Hey, oh, yeah. Good, face up at me. Good boy. Joker. Yep. Joker says, but we weren't serious, Dad. We're just out here having a good time walking around property. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.